This is a video introduction to CasePro case management software developed by PI Enterprises. There are additional details in the supplied user manual that are not covered in this short video. Before entering a new assignment into your CasePro software, my suggestion is to first enter your company information, client information, and agent information. These three steps will make it easier later on when entering new assignments and billing out cases. Our first task will be to enter your company information. Simply go to Settings and down to Company Details. Here you have your company details box, which allow you to put in your company name, address, tax ID number, at the bottom of your invoice, your agency license, in the center of your invoice, your company slogan if you have one. In the center of your invoice, you have a place for your company logo. Simply browse and find your company logo, and then once that's done, just hit save, and the entire file is saved into your system. Next, go to clients. Here you'll see I have two clients as an example listed. If you're adding a new one, you simply hit add down here, and if you need to delete a client, you can delete it from this button here. We'll bring up one that's already been entered, and here we have a client, AB1, designated by the first initial, second initial, and the number 1. We have company name, address, city, state, and zip, phone numbers, the day that they became a client of yours, an hourly rate, and a flat rate. Here you have a notation box to enter any kind of unlimited information you need to enter about your particular client. Once done, hit the Save button, and it's saved into your system. The Agents tab is the same as the Clients, however there's more information on the Agents tab. We'll bring up Mr. Fred Goose. His code number, Fred, last name Goose, address, phone numbers, date of birth, hire, date, his vehicle information, his email address, his hourly rate, his per mileage rate, social security number, and again we have a box for notations for this particular investigator. When entering a photo of your investigator, again simply browse, find the investigator, and enter it. Down below we have a list of cases. These are cases that this particular investigator has handled through his career with your company. Once entered, hit save, and your investigator would be listed here on the left. Each time you start the CasePro program, you will be brought directly to the calendar section. This will allow you to view any important appointments or case handling information that needs attention on that particular day. To enter a new date and information, simply double-click on a particular day. Here you can set the day that you actually want it on. And we'll put it on the 30th of June. Status would be an open status. Location, our office. We'll go with 9 o'clock a.m. end time at 10 o'clock a.m. Meeting with Mr. Lopez. When done, click Save, and as you can see on the 30th, it's down here. To view it, we just double click on it, and it brings the file back up again. Here we have the case intake. This is where you would enter your new assignments as they come in. The top box here is a client list drop-down. It'll give you a bird's eye view of all your clients with their code numbers, if you need them as a reference. To begin, you would enter a status, whether it's going to be assigned immediately or unassigned. It's your choice. The intake date automatically gets entered. It can be changed if you'd like to change it. Client will be a drop down of all your clients, and here is an example of just 2 that were entered into the system. Once you click on the correct client, it automatically puts in all of the client's information with the exception of the person calling the assignment in. This box here is a drop-down type of investigation. Here we use short codes, SV for surveillance. You would put a requester's name in here, person calling it in, and you'd fill out the rest of this information as needed. I'll go ahead and pull a case up to show you a filled out one. Here we have all of the information already filled out. Once you enter everything into the system, you basically hit save, and it takes it from the blank case intake and it automatically brings it into what we call a tracking list. A tracking list is where all your cases that are current in the field being worked or ready to be worked. They can be searched with these search fields up here. Again, we only have a few listed here. If there was a whole list of them, this is how you would find a particular case. Here we have Mr. Lopez. It shows the type of case, surveillance, the clients, company name, the person who called it in, the invoice, the intake date, the agent that it was assigned to, and days old would be how many days since the case was taken in. So you can keep track of that. The status sent would be if the case is in your system too long without being worked, you would put a date in here that you would be sending a status letter out to the client. From this current tracking list, if you had a client who called and said, I need a reassignment on a case, you would simply pull up the case and hit reassign. From here you can reassign the case. It'll bring up the case with all the prior information, and at that point there, as you can see, all of this information was entered previously from the first assignment. You can then change whatever you need to change and then hit save. If you go back to tracking on that Mr. Lopez, you can see that it was re-entered, and we should have at that point there changed that assignment to a re-surveillance. From here you can also search, as I said, today, this week, this month, this year, or quarterly, and you can filter out to the ones that you want. When your case is completed, you would hit the invoice number. When you hit that, you would be bringing up the actual invoice. As you can see, everything that was entered into the case is brought up on the invoice. From here, you would enter in the information. We'll go ahead and enter in a date. We'll add another 2 hours to this invoice, and we'll put it down as copies. A discounted rate of $15, and our cost might be $5 on the case. When completely entered all your information, you want to go ahead and hit the update button, which would update it to current status. As you can see, we have a total amount of $130. Our cost on it was $40. We ended up with a $90 profit, which gives us a 69.23% profit on the case. Once you've entered all of that information, you can also enter in here any additional client notes that you need for the client to see. When completed, you're ready to print your bill. You would go ahead and hit print. And your invoice with your company name, client's name, subject's name, and your please pay this invoice total. Again, your license number is listed at the bottom. Your slogan, as we talked about earlier, would be placed in the center. Once done, you would click on print and print your invoices, as many invoice copies as you'd like. Once completed and printed, what you need to do at this point is hit update to build and then close. Update to build now takes that case and places it into your receivables list. As you can see, Mr. Lopez's case has been put into the receivables list. I would next like to talk about the All Cases tab. All Cases is the central database. All cases that you have entered into your system are saved in this location. You can search for cases as many years going back with the search fields at the top of the page. We can search by invoice number, by first name, last name, by your agent's code. We can also search by the type case, surveillance, resurveillance, background, and so on. We can search by a particular adjuster's name, client name, or within a specific period of time, a date from to a date to. And here we have shortcuts for today, this week, this month, this year, or quarterly. In this particular case, we will use an example searching for a Mr. Sanchez. In this system, case sensitivity does not matter. We will hit filter and it will bring up any case with the last name of Sanchez. In this case, we only have one. We also have a date of birth month drop down. This will bring up any cases that we've done with the subject that's born in the month of February. The purpose of this is to, especially in insurance surveillance, is to sell additional work to a particular client. We search for everybody in the February month. It will bring up cases. We then call a client and tell them we can probably get more activity on his birthday. And that's how we search for the birthday system. Our next tab is the Search tab. Search tab has a wildcard search capability. This will search any word, phrase, sentence in the entire database system. As an example, I inserted a word in a note section for this Bruce Klein subject. Inserted the word crook, and let's see if it pulls it up. Sure enough, there it is. We will view it, and under the notes I put the word crook. Again, this can search anything in that entire record for that subject. Here we are on the receivables list, and as you can see, I've got 3 of them entered here. As you collect a payment on an assignment, you would enter it into here, paid amount, and in Mr. Lopez we would enter $130 paid. Pay date would automatically be put in as the current date, and you can update this to the closed which means it's been paid and closed, and it automatically puts the claimant's or subject's name in this check details box. If we want to check that, we will go to, actually let's go ahead and do another payment. In this case the invoice was $800. You did receive a check for $800. Date is correct, yes. Once that is completed and you're ready to make a deposit, you would go to your checklist. Scroll down to preview pending checks, and your checklist will pop up showing the $130 deposit. You had an invoice for $900, you discounted it $100, and we're left with an $800 deposit. These two add up to $930. This would be your deposit. If you want to continue to add more checks, you would just simply, as you close this, it will ask you, do you want to purge this list? If you purge the list, it will then be put into the central database. If you want to continue adding checks as the week goes by, you would say no, and that will allow you to go from receivables and add another check or case. We'll go back to show you on the preview of the checking. You can print. That will allow you to print to your printer your invoice. Then once you have printed it and close it out, again you'll get that, do you want to purge the list? And if you say yes, it'll purge your list for you after you've printed it. We'll go back and we'll check, and it is a clean list for your next deposit. Next we have the videotapes. This here is a search kind of screen for videotapes that would be in your storage facility. If you have a client who calls at any point in time and says, I need a videotape on a subject, even dating back to years before, you can search by the name, the status, the case type, last name, the agent's code, client's name, or any specific time from or to. It will bring up that case, and in this case here we'll go ahead and try one, and we'll go by an investigator code. We'll filter that out. We've got the three cases. So if we're looking for a case for the subject, Mr. Lambert, here it is. It gives us, in this case we didn't have a videotape number in it, but it would give you a tape number such as 403, 405, whatever designation you want to use. That's our videotapes. Next we have what's called video rates, and this allows you to get a feel on how your investigator is doing or how your client is doing with the results. And we have search fields here again. Generally it would be by client that you're looking for or by an agent. So in this particular case we'll go ahead and search for Fred Goose's cases. We can do a time period for this year or for his entire career with your company. We can even do it on a monthly basis. In this case, let's try it by monthly. We'll hit this month, as you can see, from 6/1 to 6/30. We would filter it, and now we have 3 cases. As I can see here, we have video length. We have video on 55 minutes on one case, 32 on another, and 0 on another. What we want to do here is get his success rate. In this case, he has a 67% success rate on the cases he has worked during that month, which is not too bad. We have, in some cases, a list It could be 100 cases. This gives you an idea. We'll clear that. We can also do a client. In this case here, we'll say ABC. And then we will hit success rate. So for this particular client, ABC Insurance, we have a success rate of 75%, which is very good. I will jump over to our contacts. This is basically your Rolodex for clients or anybody else. Could be investigators. It'll allow you to put company name, code, email address, cell phone number, and any kind of notes that you would want. It's a quick reference for your phone book. We are now on the stats page. This gives you your sales information that you need, comparisons, and your receivables, how old they are, and your comparison from year to year. At the top of this page we have a comparison formula. We can choose any particular year that we would like. In this case here we'll choose 2014, let's say is week 0 through 28. Compared to 2015, we want to compare basically the same, 0 to 228. We would hit calculate, and as you can see in 2014 we have gross sales of $60 and a profit of $48, and we've taken in 5 cases. In 2015 we have a gross of $32.30, a profit of $2,060, and we took in 1 case. Here you have a difference from one year to the other. The difference is that we are in a positive. We are up 53.83%, and profit we're up 42%. We are down in our cases. On the left here we have our receivables. As you can see, it's $1,650 in the 0 to 30 days overdue. As your receivables become older, they would be listed here and you would know how old they are, and giving you a grand total of how much money is outstanding. This here is where we use to compare any particular week. If we said that the current week is week 27, we know that for the week we've done $24.50 and it costs us $8.50, and we have a profit for that week of $1,600. Cases last year to date, that would be the amount of cases that we had last year. Cases year to date, the amount of cases this year. There is no change in that particular week, but you can see above, prior 2 weeks we had 2 cases come in and 1 case on week 26. Down at the bottom we have totals. Cases for the year, last year, year to date, and these are your sales from last year to date, and your current sales, cost, and your profit for the year. As your year ends, you'll see that listed here, so you have a bird's eye view of how you are progressing from year after year. Thank you for your interest in our CasePro software. If you would like more information on our products or would like to try our free 7-day trial of the software, please visit our website at www.pienterprises.com.